Welcome to Onslow County today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and you can see that we are out and about once again. It is time to get out and explore your Onslow County today. Welcome back to Onslow County today, and joining us now is one of our favorite friends, Lisa Ryder with Onslow County Solid Waste and Keep Onslow Beautiful. Lisa, thank you for coming to my favorite place.
Mine too. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, we want to talk about your passion, which is keeping this beautiful and making sure that everyone who comes, whether they are residents or tourists, have the best possible experience when they come to Onslow County. So talk to us a little bit about how important it is for us to all do our part to keep this area beautiful.
Well, it's very important. So our coastal environment is just as endangered as, you know, the rainforest and things like that, and it's right here in our backyard. And what we've seen over the years is that we've seen an increase in plastic pollution and marine debris. And it's not all coming from here, you know, it's coming from all over the world. So we want to make sure that what we're doing here is the best that we can to prevent marine debris from happening on our coast.
So let's talk about choices then. As consumers, as lovers of the beach, what kind of choices do we need to make first and foremost? Those front-end choices.
So the hierarchy of solid waste starts with reduction. So making sure that you're reducing the waste that you accumulate, and making smart choices, like making sure that, like, when you go to the store and you're buying things, buy things that, you know, first make sure that you need it, or it's something that you really want, not something that you kind of want. But also making sure that you're buying things that are either compostable, reusable, or recyclable. I call it voting with your wallet.
Voting with your wallet. So front end. And then when you are shopping, simple choices we can make about how we then leave the store with those products.
Right. So things like BYOB. So BYOB means bring your own bag, bring your own bottle, also bring your own coffee mug and those types of things. You can even bring your own reusable straw these days to make sure you're not accumulating that plastic waste. It's called a single-use plastic. So you use it for seconds and then it's on the planet forever. And these are things that are easy to prevent, and it's fun. It's kind of trendy now to make sure that you're BYOBing.
BYOB, and again, you know, they're beautiful. The glass straws with the stainless steel straws and the reusable mugs and cups. Really, you can put your own signature on it.
Absolutely, and you can bring your own bag for anything. If you're shopping for a pair of shoes or sandals rather, or you know, anything that you're shopping for, you can bring your own bag and, you know, keep it in your purse or keep it in your pocket until you're ready, and it becomes just as simple as when you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth. It's one of those everyday things that you get accustomed to. Very
good. Now, we talked about the impact, really, of ocean plastics. I don't think people completely grasp when we say, oh, but it's just a soda straw, right? Talk a little bit about why that has had such an impact on the environment, not just in terms of pollution and the breakdown of those plastics, but what the impact it has on the wildlife.
So, and the thing to remember is that it's not just that one soda straw. It's billions and billions of soda straws a year that are accumulating. And what folks don't realize, I think, is that plastic is here forever. So the plastics are not biodegradable. There are no known organisms that will break down the polymers in plastic. So once they're here forever.
Billions, you know, it sounds like Carl Sagan talking about the stars, but billions of plastic bags, straws, water bottles, the caps off of water bottles, and they're everywhere. And you, Lisa, are making a difference here in Onslow County. I mean, we've talked so many times about how this is your passion. You recently just hosted your annual Earth and Surf Fest, which is virtually, if not 100%, really close to a waste-free festival. Talk about the message of that kind of festival.
So I think the message is that it's doable. You know, we're at a point now where these things are doable. You can develop a waste-free lifestyle. I mentioned brushing your teeth earlier. I mean, you can purchase bamboo toothbrushes now that are completely 100% compostable when you're done with them. So we don't need these single-use or even multi-use plastics anymore. Certainly we need plastics, especially for medical uses, and even creating infrastructure like recycle bins. Plastics are durable. They last a long time, and that's the key. Plastics are durable and they last a long time. So once they're in the environment forever. And our problem now is that our oceans are suffocating in plastic. With the amount of accumulation that we've seen worldwide by studying plastic accumulation in the ocean, we see now that if we go with the same rate of plastic production and plastic usage and the impact and the input of plastic into the ocean, usually by way of, not folks dumping it, which does happen in some places, but it's usually that unintentional litter when something flies away from you. But we know that because of the impact, we're looking at having more plastic by weight than fish by the year 2050, which is unimaginable.
That's an unimaginable statistic. Now, again, front-end choices, and then we're here at the beach. What do you always encourage visitors to the beach to do?
I always encourage a cleanup. So no matter if I'm coming to the beach to do a cleanup with a group of volunteers, or if I'm coming to the beach to enjoy it, or to go surfing, or even when I'm going diving, I'm looking for things underwater that I can pick up and take back with me. Because we here in the U.S., and especially here in eastern North Carolina and Onslow County, we have the proper solid waste infrastructure to collect that material in a manageable way. So it doesn't need to be on our beach. We can collect it and take it and put it in the recycle bin, put it in the trash can where it belongs, and it will get to where it needs to be. So this is something that you don't have to wait for a cleanup to happen, although we do have them on a monthly basis. You can do them on your own. You can encourage a group of your friends to go out and do it, or you can even give us a call and we can help arrange a beach cleanup just for your group, whether it's a Girl Scout, Boy Scout group, a school group, or even just a group of friends. We can make that happen.
And it's a great, for our kids who are going to be out of school this summer, that's a great community service. It's a great way to give back.
Absolutely, and now we have the technology to contribute to an international database, which is a really cool way of contributing to and having fun with citizen science these days. So you're tracking the debris that you're picking up, it GPSs the location and mapping the location of where these items are, and it also showcases what types of items we're seeing at different accesses. And this helps us work with developing outreach, so that if we see that we are noticing a lot of plastic bags in one area, we can develop outreach to make sure we're preventing those plastic bags from getting on the beach.
And finally, you've made it easy for us. So here at the Public Beach Access where we are today, you have collection stations, places where people can deposit those plastics, where people can deposit trash. Talk a little bit about that initiative and why that has meant so much to you and working with our Park and Rec department.
Well, infrastructure is key. So having traveled the globe studying solid waste infrastructure and how it impacts plastics in the ocean, I can tell you that 100% solid waste infrastructure is the key to making sure it doesn't end up in the ocean. So having waste disposal, recycle bins, preferably twinning the bin, having the trash next to a recycle bin and giving folks that easy option. And also providing access to other types of disposal methods and recycling and reuse methods. So here at our accesses, we have what I like to call beach cleanup stations. They'll say, you'll look for the tube, it says blue tube, and that's where you can deposit your plastic bag, your reusable plastic bags. And then when you're here at the beach and you need a bag to pick up some debris while you're here, you can take one of those bags, do your cleanup, and then there's also a place for you to dispose of that material properly.
Well, Lisa, you've made it easy for us. You've given us the right message, and more importantly, you've brought the passion to it. Thank you for bringing that to us. Thank you for, as you say, you've traveled the globe and you've come right back here home and you've brought that message to us. We really appreciate it. As we close out at this beautiful location and you're sharing this information with us, what would you close out and share with our visitors about the beauty of these beaches and the importance of keeping them beautiful?
Well, I always like to say, I'm a proud Eastern North Carolina native, and you don't have to be from Eastern North Carolina to love it and enjoy it, but I find that with that pride comes responsibility. From here, you see the magic, you see the beauty, and you can't help but want to protect it and take care of it. And I especially adore Onslow County. I have a lot of loyalty here. I hope to be here for the rest of my life and enjoy what we have here. It's so beautiful.
Thank you, and thanks for always inspiring us.
Thanks for having me.
Joining us now is Karen Moore. Karen, how do you like our location today?
I love it. Beautiful.
You know, we're so fortunate that this is really our own backyard here in eastern North Carolina, here in Onslow County, so this is pretty fabulous.
It is.
You are here today to talk with us about a couple of things. One, we want to talk about some library programs.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about some recommendations for beach reads, because I don't know about you, but when I'm sitting out there in that chair, listening to that, I want a good book to read. So
Exactly.
First things first, what's going on at the library back home?
Well, we know all about the summer reading events for the kids,
Yes.
and we want to make sure that everyone knows that we're all about lifelong learning and exploring. So there's plenty for the adults in Onslow County as well. Adults can pick up a reading log, can write down 3 books that they've read throughout the summer, turn it in, and they are entered into a drawing to win a Kindle.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And in addition to that, we've got all kinds of things going on in the summer for adults. One of the things that we're really excited about this year, music is our theme for this year's summer reading. So we're going to have a concert series. So we're going to have concerts at all library locations throughout the summer.
Okay. And what kind of music are we going to be listening to?
Oh, we've got a little bit of everything. We've got a really good variety. We've got someone who specializes in African harp. He's actually going to teach us about the African harp as well. We've got Onslow Winds doing some pop and jazz. We've got Marine Corps Band, and we've got Three Rivers Bluegrass. So we've got a great mix for everybody.
That is awesome. And I love the global music, so I love African harp. I love that idea. And then jazz. You cannot beat the Marine Corps Band, and then tying it all together at the end with bluegrass. So that's a super summer.
It is.
That's a super summer. Now, I'm ready. I'm going to go get my books. What am I looking for this summer? And I'm sure you've got genre for all kinds of genre available for us.
Well, June is a big publishing month. So you're probably going to see most of your favorite authors out with a book.
Okay.
So we've got everything from Debbie McCumber to Barbara Delinsky to, of course, James Patterson. Everybody's
Yes.
going to be clamoring for this one. The President is Missing. He is co-writing this with Bill Clinton. So everybody's pretty excited about this book.
Okay.
That'll be out early June. But there's also maybe some lesser known titles that we think are going to be really big hits this summer.
Okay.
That they might want to check out. One of them is Madonna of the Mountains by Elise Valmorbida. And this one is set in rural Italy and one woman's quest to sort of save her family during World War II.
Oh my gosh.
We've got a time-shifting thriller
Okay.
that may be a little bit different than what most people have experienced so far in some of their fiction reading. It's called The Shimmer by Karsten Stroud.
Okay.
And this one's going to be recommended for people who really love The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
Even Stephen King says that this book kept him up late at night reading. So we think that one is going to be an interesting one to watch for.
Okay, that's high praise from Stephen King.
It is. Lots of big authors. Frederick Bachman, The Man Called Uwe.
Okay.
That was so popular recently. He's got a new one out, Us Against You, set in a small Swedish community that experiences tragedy, but they rise triumphantly again. A lot of that has to do with their passion for hockey. Woman in the Woods by John Connolly is another thriller.
So we've had, last year was Girl on a Train.
Right.
So now we've got Woman in the Woods.
Right. We've got
Okay.
Woman in the Woods now. This one is mystery, thriller. So lots of really good things. That's on the fiction side. There's also some really good biographies coming out. Of course, everybody wants a light beach read.
Sure.
So there's 2 big Hollywood bios coming out this summer. One is on Bruce Lee by Matthew Polly, And that one is supposed to shed some new light on the martial arts legend and his journey from Hong Kong to Hollywood.
Okay.
And then we've got My Girls by Todd Fisher. His mother was Debbie Reynolds and his sister was Carrie Fisher. So he's giving us a whole new perspective on life in that family.
Stepmother was Elizabeth Taylor. This is going to be a book.
That's right.
Okay.
So lots of different things this summer.
That is part of the fun. We're on vacation, we're hanging out at the beach house, or we're on the beach itself, or maybe we're just chilling out at home in the air conditioning. Right. And we've got these great reads. Tell our viewers where they can find all of these books, because you have branches located in every township.
We do. You can find us in Jacksonville on Doris Avenue. We're in Sneads Ferry. We're in Richlands. We're in Swansboro. And also want to remind everyone that every Friday from 10 to 4, we're talking about books on our Facebook page. So you can always send us your recommendation or what you're reading, and we'll reply with read-alikes and tell you what might be good out there.
Now, we also don't have to come to the library itself, our brick and mortar libraries, because you have kiosks, which are the coolest things ever.
We do.
So as we kind of close out, tell people that it's not just about coming to the library. If I'm going on vacation and I'm at the Albert J. Ellis Airport, I can use your kiosk. So tell us about the kiosk system.
Yeah, we do have kiosks. The kiosk at Albert J. Ellis Airport is conveniently located right before you board your flight, and you can download free movies, ebooks, magazines.
That is fantastic.
And of course you can go to our website and you can download ebooks anytime.
So don't just have to have paper. We can get our ebooks, we can download, and then we just log that for a chance to win a Kindle this summer.
Exactly.
Karen, you always bring us the most fun and the most information. Thank you for taking your time. I know coming out to the beach must have been hard, but thanks for making that sacrifice today.
Thank you.
And of course, we'll direct folks to your website at the library, and they can check out your Facebook and all of your social media posts. So as always, Karen Moore, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And joining us now is Jennifer Montefort.
Hello.
Jennifer, we are always so happy to have you here from Animal Services. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a beautiful day.
Now, you know what? We really are, we got lucky. After all the rain we've had, this is fantastic. Jennifer, you know, we always have you come and share with us so many of the great programs you all have at Animal Services. And we wanted to really focus this particular segment on pet care and the challenges that summertime brings, with between heat and everybody wanting to be out and about, everything that goes along with that. So can we first talk about, we love to come to the beach, we love to bring our pets to the beach, our dogs especially. I don't know too many cats who want to come to the beach, but our dogs who definitely want to come to the beach. What do you think we should know before we make that decision?
We want to make ourselves aware of any leash laws. Also, we want to make sure that our pets are up to date on their vaccinations. We're going to be exposing them to lots of new areas, and pets as well. So we want to make sure they're up to date on their vaccinations, especially their rabies, which they can get at the shelter. We do have a rabies clinic at the shelter. Tuesday through Thursday, $10. We want to make sure that we're prepared. We keep respectful of people's space and animals as well. Making yourself familiar with animal behavior cues. Our dogs can't talk to us, but often they make us aware of how they're feeling. So being aware of behavior cues and how they're feeling will keep everyone safe.
You know, you mentioned that the notion of being respectful of everybody's space. It's also reminding people who perhaps are not pet owners, who want to, especially small children, who want to rush up and they think your dog is the cutest thing in the world, but maybe he's not a kid person. So reminding people who are not pet owners about how to act also around other people's pets.
Definitely. We want to be respectful of people's space as pet owners, but we want everyone to be respectful of our pets as well. Never approach an unfamiliar animal unless you've spoken to the owner, and that way we just keep everyone safe.
Now also, as much fun as this is, and our pets want to come out and be with us, it's hot,
It is.
it's sandy, it's sticky. Maybe you have a pet who might even be a short-haired pet who might even be prone to sunburn. So what kind of precautions can we also take when bringing our pet with us?
Our pets are our family members, so we want to protect them just as much as any other family member. So we want to be very mindful of the heat, make sure they always have access to shade and water, keep them safe. We don't want heat stroke can be prevalent during the summer heat, and we know it gets very, very hot here. So just be mindful of your pet, make sure that they're hydrated, make sure that they're out of that direct sun as well.
Okay. And how about their paws? You know, we think about when we've had conversations about ice and snow and salt when our pets are out walking about in the wintertime. What about in the summertime?
Summertime, it can be very dangerous. They can burn their paws. Asphalt gets hot, surfaces get hot. It's always best to check a surface with the back of your hand. If it's too hot for you, it's definitely too hot for their paws, so we want to protect them. They can also get salty and sandy, so it's always good to rinse them off if we're at the beach or out and about as well.
Okay, so certainly beach safety. And then we talked about out and about. We always say, you know, my pet, he just loves to go with me. He loves to ride in the car. But that, again, poses very special dangers to our pets. Talk a little bit about that.
It's easy to think that they're okay if you're just leaving them for a short time. But in temperatures even as mild as 70 degrees, a car can heat up over 100 degrees in less than 30 minutes. Parking in the shade, rolling down windows, this really has little effect on how hot it gets in a car. So though we love our pets, we want them home and safe and cool and out of the heat. We don't want to be bringing them out in the car and leaving them out.
Just chill out, hang out, stay in the air conditioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we all have family guests. I mean, when you live here, it's hard not to have family come and visit when it's this beautiful. And we have a lot of family guests. Houses in and out, in and out. We've got the holidays coming up with Memorial Day and 4th of July and just celebrations in general with family coming for the summer. What kind of precautions do we need to take at home to keep our pets safe?
So it's time for barbecues, fireworks, lots of family and friends. We want to make sure that our dogs and cats always have a safe space within the home. A lot of people coming in and out can be distracting for them or overwhelming. So we want to make sure that they have a safe space that they can get away to, a crate or a room of their own. Also, we want to make sure that we have our fences secure, doors are secure so they're not able to slip out. ID is always important. Make sure that their ID tags and information is up to date so that if they do slip out, they can get home. Fireworks can be very scary. New people can be scary as well, so we want to keep them safe. And then with those barbecues, you have lots of tasty food out for people that aren't necessarily good for our animals. So be familiar with what is toxic to animals and offer them good fruits and vegetables that are good for them, but keep them out of the way of things like bones, avocados, onions, things like that that are often out during those times of barbecues and things.
I think that the avocado is the thing that surprised me the most because it seems like such an innocuous kind of treat, and then to think that that's toxic for our
It can be
pet.
toxic. Grapes as well. A lot of people aren't aware of that. So, things that are easily accessible that we need to keep out of their reach.
Okay, very good. Now, summertime also means we're all out and about. We're going on hikes, we're going on walks, we're in our own backyards, and that can mean pest infestation. Talk a little bit about protecting our pets from things like fleas and ticks.
Flea and tick as well as heartworm prevention is key, especially in the summertime. Year-round we want our animals to be protected, but it's really important at this time when they're so prevalent to protect them from mosquitoes, from ticks, from fleas. So go out to your vet, get your vaccinations up to date, and make sure that you get that heartworm prevention and flea and tick prevention.
So we've talked about vaccinations, we've talked about summertime, and something that is always top of mind, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we always want to reinforce this, is the importance of a rabies vaccine and keeping things current. I know that you all offer rabies clinics. Let's talk about that in some detail.
We do have a rabies clinic at the shelter Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All the time. No appointment is needed. You just walk in between 12 and 5, and we offer that rabies vaccination at the cost of $10. So super easy to get that up to date and make sure that not only your pet but our community is safe.
That is wonderful. Jennifer, as we kind of close out our segment, what would you remind folks always and forever when they think about bringing a pet into their home?
Obviously, we want to encourage adoption. Come on into the shelter. We have some amazing animals there, cats, dogs, kittens, puppies, all looking for a forever home. And you choose adoption, you choose to change the life of a shelter pet. So we always hope that people will choose adoption.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the great information.
Thank you.
Joined now by David Washington with Onslow County Parks and Recreation. David, it's always good to visit with you.
Oh, thank you. Same here.
I appreciate you coming out today on this beautiful day. So I know kind of a hardship, right?
Not really.
But you get to be out here all the time. David, we always want people to know who's working for them for Onslow County. And you just had an anniversary. You've just commemorated your 30th anniversary with Onslow County.
Yes, I have.
30 years of making sure that everything stays beautiful and safe for our visitors. David, we want to talk today especially about what you do here with our public beach accesses. And tell us where we are today specifically.
We're at beach access number 4. It's on the northern end from the North Topsail Town Hall, about a mile down the road from the North Topsail Beach Town Hall. And this facility has at least 80 cars in the actual facility itself, and it's handicap accessible. It has a ramp. We just had a newly built ramp on the other side for patrons. Handicap ramps on the right side as you drive into the parking lot. It does have a fire lane for emergency services so they can service the needs of the public in case there's an emergency in the water. And normally when that occurs, that lane is our staff pretty much keeps it unblocked. We have part-time staff who work in this location to keep the restrooms clean and sanitary, and also to support the concessionaire personnel here also on this site.
So really, this is the draw, but what you all do is make sure that it stays safe and clean and usable for our residents and our visitors, and make sure that they have this great place to come. Now this is just one, this is Public Beach Access 4, but we have a variety of beach accesses all up and down the island here in Onslow County. Talk to us a little bit about the different types of accesses we have.
All right, leaving from here, if we go down, keep going north, so to speak, we have beach access number 1. Okay. That is a small site. It does have a handicap accessible restroom downstairs. The restrooms are upstairs on the upper deck level. It does have a crossover that you can cross the street, which you have to cross the road, the inlet road to get to the accesses, which it has a public beach crossover to the beach. Okay. Next to one of the resorts here in this area. The next facility from there down the road, heading north again, would be back to beach access number 3, okay, which is the inlet, the New Inlet, which that connects to, on the other side is Camp Lejeune. So that's pretty much they've opened it up to the public, and North Topsail's put basically a meter-made parking area down there. Yeah. So they can go down, patrons can go down there and park and hang out at the beach pretty much most of the day and stuff, which has been very active.
All right, and then we have kind of further down the island a completely different kind of access, because we have access to the sound side. Talk a little bit about that side.
That would be beach access number 2. That's on the Island Drive heading towards Surf City. That has 2 parking lots. It has the beach and the sound side parking lot. Has pretty much the same amenities as access 4, which we are located at now, with the concession, handicap accessible ramping. But across the street on the sound side, which you just mentioned, it has kayak launch. It has a kayak paddle launch group there, which we rent to Walter Mayo. He does our paddle North Carolina type deal, and he does a lot of different venues and paddling for the public.
So we've got all these great beach accesses, And then we've also got kayak accesses at different points in the county along the river. Talk a little bit about those for us.
On the New River side, we have, if I go into town, which would be where the new courthouse is being built, that's the New River. Actually, the New River was one of the accesses. We have a launch there, but it's pretty much we've done what we can there, but they've closed the ramp down, but the kayakers can still come in there and launch from that location.
Okay.
But if you head down towards 258 going down towards Richlands, we used to have a site that was where the government center is, but that's been closed off. But we moved from there, moved to McAllister Landing. McAllister Landing is a launch, kayak accessible launch. And then from there would be the Richlands, where close to the Richlands State Park would be Cowhorn.
Cowhorn. And right there at that McAllister Landing, that parking lot's all been redone, so that's a really nice facility to access. Yes. Now, David, we mentioned that you've been here now 30 years. You've seen a lot of change along this way and the opportunities that people have. Talk a little bit about how that has changed for you.
On this end of the county, as far as change was the beach accesses, I do remember when the road going down to these accesses used to be on the other side behind us where we're standing right now.
Right. Mother Nature had a little bit to do with that.
Yes, Mother Nature's moved, kind of shifted everything a little bit, and we've had to move the beach accesses closer to move them back some. But as far as the different changes, the erosion, the tide, we have lost here at this particular site a lot of beach dunes. I know North Topsails have a plan to try to recapture this through the renourishment program with the Corps of Engineers to come in and renourish the dunes. But we have this particular sites, they're working on it, I know, but I know that number 2, they hauled in a lot of hundreds and hundreds of cubic yards of sand in access number 2 from our crossovers, because we do maintain 13 beach crossovers also.
Now, that's a tremendous number, 13 beach crossovers, these accesses. And the one thing we always want to remind people is, David, how much does it cost to park here at these beach accesses?
Free. Costs nothing.
I think that may surprise some of our folks who are new here, who maybe have moved here from other locations. It's something that we've always appreciated, but it's something that might be new to folks to realize that they can come here, spend the day, have these beautiful facilities, great amenities, and it's free.
Yes, ma'am.
It's free. They can park here, come over to the beach, and then if it gets a little hot, take a shower, head home for the day.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, what do you ask, though, of your patrons? If they're using these facilities, what do we want to remind them about in terms of keeping the beaches beautiful and staying as safe as possible?
As far as glass bottles, we do have violation signs. We encourage public to bring glass products out on the beach. Clean up behind yourself, pick up your trash. If you're going to have your dogs, make sure they're on a leash and they're under your control. If you're swimming out there, make sure you keep safety in mind because of the rip currents. And also be observant and make sure you pass on to your fellow man and woman that they need to make sure that safety is paramount here, and we like to encourage footsteps on the beach, no trash.
Footsteps on the beach, no trash. Well, David Washington, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for Onslow County for 30 years, and thank you for letting us come and hang out at your public beach access today.
Oh, thank you.
Joining us now is Megan Brown with Onslow County Emergency Medical Services. Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
We are so very fortunate to have this gorgeous ocean right here in our backyard.
That we are.
But summertime has very special safety concerns. And Megan, we wanted to have you all from Emergency Medical Services come and talk to us about how we can keep our families the safest. And no place is better to start than right here at the ocean. Because as beautiful as she is, she changes personalities, and we need to make sure folks are safe. Talk to us about some things that we all need to be mindful of.
As far as here on the beach, such as, like you said, that our ocean is ever changing. Rogue waves, rip currents. Rip currents are a big thing here on our Carolina coast. And whenever you access the beach, be mindful of where you are, the access that you have utilized, and where your location is on the sand. Perhaps maybe scout the area and look for where the waves are. And rip currents, they usually form in between waves. So whenever there's like a break in a line of waves, that's generally where you can find rip currents.
You know, the one thing that people do is when they look at it, they think, well, why can't I see a rip current? And it's really something, it's even about the push and the pull of the wave.
That it is. Whenever the waves come in, it has to have an outlet, and so it breaks off to the side, usually sometimes caused by sandbars. And sandbars too are ever changing, but as far as rip currents, if you find yourself in one, you want to swim parallel to the shore to help get out of it. And they can be as wide as 30 feet and as long as 100 feet, and they can flow up to 8 feet per second.
Wow.
So whenever we get further away from the shore in a rip current, it tends to fan out and slow down, and then maybe you can break out of that current and get into the waves and swim. Let the waves bring you in and swim diagonal to shore and help get yourself back. The biggest thing is not to panic, and because whenever we panic, we tend to fight it, and then you're fighting the current and fighting against yourself, and so that wears us out. Perhaps tread water, get on your back and float, that sort of thing.
And you know, and I think that's our first inclination is, let me just swim back as hard as I can, and that's really the worst decision.
It is.
Now, you know, for a lot of people, we're a transient area. People are oftentimes moving here for the first time. Probably, you know, we got to visit with some folks earlier, and this was their very first visit to the ocean. The first time they'd ever seen the ocean. And imagining that you've got this great expanse of water, it's so tempting to just run in, but we really need to know our own limitations as well.
That we do. We need to be very aware of that. Swimming in the ocean is far from the same as swimming in a pool or a much slower moving body of water such as a lake or even sometimes a river.
Okay. Now we're here at the beach. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. We're here because it's hot, right? But we need to be mindful of always the heat as well. Talk to us about that.
Loose-fitting clothing, wear loose-fitting clothing, light-colored clothing so that the sun is generally reflected from you. Darker colors tend to absorb the heat. Stay hydrated. Drink water all the time. If you're thirsty, it's too late.
If you're thirsty, it's too late, you know. And really, water's our best choice, right?
It is. Water is our best choice. You know, Gatorade and Powerade, that sort of thing it's okay. It also has a lot of sugar in it. So something sugar-free, something full of electrolytes, that sort of thing. Sunblock. You want to protect yourself from those UVA and UVB rays. Follow the directions on the bottle. Even on an overcast day such as today, you can still soak up that sun and experience those dreadful sunburns.
Oh my gosh, and you know, it's that first sunburn of the year that gets you, right? The one, and gosh, and we've all seen those folks. We probably have all been those folks where you then just walk that stiff walk because you can't bend.
Yes, ma'am.
But we all know, and our dermatologist would tell us that each one of those sunburns contributes to potential skin cancer.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Always
Absolutely.
What about, it's time to celebrate, we've got friends, we've got family, we've got all that good food, and we've got fireworks, right?
Yeah, fireworks. Always obey the local laws as far as fireworks, using fireworks. Never allow children to play with fireworks, and it's probably best not to be overly intoxicated with fireworks.
You know, it's always about the decisions we make, right?
It is.
It's about the choices. And there are lots of wonderful public displays of fireworks that go on. I think sometimes better than take the risk.
Yes, very much so.
Go see those organized ones. The last thing I want to talk to you about, because we've mentioned children, and that's what we're also always the most mindful of, is keeping our kids safe, keeping them safe at the beach, keeping them safe at home when they're playing. And a couple of things we want to talk about certainly is, first and foremost, kids in cars.
Kids in cars, yes ma'am. Don't always be mindful that your children are with you. Don't ever leave them unattended in a vehicle, whether it's running or not. If you go someplace that you cannot take them with you, it's best to find a babysitter or stay at home. It is a very sad and unfortunate thing whenever children are left in cars unattended.
It's just tragic.
It is.
You know, the one thing I think, and I see on your face, because you all have dealt with that. You have seen families who've had to face that tragedy, and the notion, and sometimes we think, I'm only going in for a minute.
Even just a minute can alter that life, that decision.
And finally, our kids are out and about. They're playing soccer, they're playing frisbee, they're just in the yard being kids in the summertime. And for drivers who are out and about, what do we want to remind them? Because they're not in school, they're out and about now. What do we always want to remind drivers who might be going through neighborhoods?
Your residential areas, always obey the traffic laws, the posted speed limit sign, and keep a watch for those children. Keep your eyes moving and just slow down. Take your time going through residential neighborhoods.
So Megan, being out and about in the summertime means we're also out and about with flying, stinging, biting, swimming creatures. Bites, stings, burns. We talked a little bit about sunburn. We talked certainly about fireworks, but what about those bites and stings?
So particularly here on our coast, we think about jellyfish, man-o-war, and stingrays or skates. More so skates out here. So jellyfish and man-o-wars, if you come across any, then the best practice is to perhaps use a towel and pluck away the tentacles.
Okay.
EMS, we use a vinegar wash.
Okay.
We'll flush the area with vinegar, and that helps deactivate the organisms that are there. And then here on the beach, then we would use clean ocean water.
Okay.
And heat also helps take that pain away.
You know, if you've ever been stung, there's nothing like it.
Right,
I mean,
that's what I hear.
There's just nothing that can quite describe that. And then even in our own yards and our own gardens, we encounter everything from the notorious fire ant to bees. And we want to be mindful of insect and arachnid stings and bites as well.
Yes, ma'am. Fire ants, I typically myself, I always evaluate my yard. I keep a watch on my yard and make sure we don't have any developing fire ant hills or anything. I particularly am allergic to them, or I was whenever I was little. So whenever stung by those or bitten by an animal such as that, then we want to watch for any shortness of breath, difficulty swallowing or speaking, increased heart rate, and call 911 should it be needed.
Well, you know, I think that's the perfect thing for us to kind of close on is when in doubt. That's
Call
why you all
911.
are there.
Absolutely.
And we were speaking with David Washington earlier, and they have a designated area at their public beach accesses now for emergency personnel.
Awesome.
And so in the event of that emergency personnel has to be called for any reason, the access is here and available.
That is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
So when in doubt, 911, be mindful, pay attention.
Yes, ma'am.
And know that you all, for one thing, emergency services in general, emergency management, you all have a great website that gives us guides to how to make all of these great decisions. If folks do have questions, though, what's the best number, the main number there at emergency management where they can call and just ask some general questions about things?
911.
Okay, 911.
911.
Now, general questions, certainly, though, we call 347-4270. But in the event of an emergency, if they need help,
Call 911.
911 first.
Yes, ma'am.
Megan Brown, thank you again so much, and thank you for such great information.
Thank you.
thank you for joining us for Onslow County today. And a very special thank you to our guests, Lisa Ryder, Karen Moore, Jennifer Montefort, David Washington, and Megan Brown. Being out in Onslow County means getting out to explore our beautiful beaches. We want to remind you to have a great time, but always keep safety in mind first. It's time to get out and explore Onslow County today.